Well, in our first story this afternoon, one person is reported dead after some illegal miners allegedly attacked the operational site of Golden Star Resources. We understand that this incident resulted in a full-blown assault, leading to the destruction of office equipment and some 12 vehicles. The head of communications at Golden Star Resources, Daryl, has been speaking with JoyNews about this incident.
We have the right to protect our concessions from galamsey and galamsey operators, or whatever you call them, illegal miners. And we usually, because we are not armed, we usually do this through engagement. So we engage them, talk to them, and then we escort them peacefully off our sites. On this occasion, the same thing happened, but obviously they, seeing that they probably have their booty there, amassed some more people and came back. In the process, the police that are stationed at our site assisted us to ward them off. But I mean, this did not stop them. So they obviously came back with more people, more illegal miners. And then that's when they started to touch property, ambulances, our officers, as you can see in the video. And luckily, the first thing that we take into consideration under such circumstances is life. So we moved our staff and our workers off to safety, and they continue to have a field day at our operation. But as I speak, the police, thankfully, from Takwa came, and they've sort of brought calm to the site, and they're doing the investigations, and we'll know what exactly happened pretty soon.
Daryl, head of corporate communications at Golden Star Resources, speaking earlier on News Desk with Samuel Bray. So the latest we have on that incident, that attack on the operational site of Golden Star Resources, is that one person is dead. There was some loss of equipment, as well as several equipment destroyed, and 12 vehicles, we are told, also destroyed in that full-blown assault. The police says it is investigating the matter, is calling for calm. We're keeping our eyes on that story for you as we continue to follow that incident over there at Benso in the Western region. While still in the mining sector, Goldfields and AngloGold Ashanti, those two mining giants, have agreed on the key terms of a proposed joint venture between the Goldfields Takwa and AngloGold Ashanti's neighboring Iduapriem mines. The proposed joint venture is the Takwa mine is held by Goldfields Ghana, and in which Goldfields currently owns 90% of the share, and government holds 10%. The Iduapriem mine is currently 100% owned by AngloGold Ashanti, and both mines are located near the town of Takwa in the country's western region. Both mines are located near the town of Takwa, and the two mining firms have agreed in principle on the key terms of a proposed joint venture. Joining us to discuss the benefits of this arrangement is Dr. Tony Obeng, who is former chief executive of the Minerals Commission. He also has several years of experience in the mining industry. Grateful you could join us this afternoon, sir. We'll talk about this in a bit, but I just wanted to pick your thoughts about what we've seen happen at the operational site of Golden Star Resources, where we understand one person has died following an attack by some illegal miners. Certainly, this is an issue that the mining sector has had to grapple with over the years.
Good afternoon to your viewers and listeners. I think it's sad that regardless of whatever happened, somebody would lose his or her life in an effort to survive. But obviously, it's a very tricky question when people want to make a living and at the same time want to do so on the properties of others without permission. So I will leave it there. And since it appears to me, and at least by your report, the police are investigating it, I'll try to not comment too much about it, but only to say that it's sad for the loss of life, and I'm worried about the intrusion on the properties of other people.
Very well. And so let's speak about the reason for which we called you, actually, the Goldfields and Anglo Gold Ashanti joint venture. What do you deem to be the benefit of this joint venture? Has it been long overdue?
Daryl, let me just quickly say that I am the founder and president of the African Institute of Extractive Industries. Yes, I am former chief executive, but I have to live the now than the past. But having said that, I think that this marriage has been long overdue, I must say. I know that Goldfields has been more interested in trying to get this type of relationship for the purpose of, the two parties consolidating their depleting reserves and resources. And if you have been to where Ibiaprim is and where Goldfields is, actually they are very, very close. So geographically, they are very proximate. They are very close to each other. And therefore, the synergy of mining together and producing the gold from that place actually reduces costs for them, and of course ensure that the depleting reserves and resources of the two mining companies would be enhanced. So I'm not surprised that they've now come to that understanding that we are better off from efficiency, both cost and everything, and for the fact of scale, the benefit of having a large scale, we would have to come together and do that. So I think it's good. It's good for the parties, I believe, and then I think it's good for Ghana, because if that did not take place, I think the reserves and resources of both companies have been depleting, and there's no doubt about that. I mean, Goldfields is mining ore of about 0.2, 0.4 grams per ton, which means you have to mine a lot of ore, a lot of materials to get a small amount of gold, and so on and so forth. So I think it's good for them from the point of view of consolidation, and also from the point of view of synergy, that they can use the resources together and extract what's available at a cost-effective way.
I don't know if we've had so many of these joint ventures here in Ghana, but just for the benefit of our audience, what would a joint venture entail? What would it also mean for both companies?
From what I have read, Goldfields would have about 60% share of that, and then Anglo Gold Ashanti, the Ibiaprim mine, would have 30%. Obviously, there is this free carry interest of 10%. So it means that government is getting a bigger 10%, and for the 10% from both mines. So that's a bigger 10%. And this also means that they would agree who will manage it. It is likely that Goldfields will be doing the mine, and it is also possible that they will absorb some of the key staff of Ibiaprim, which will be a younger brother this time. And then, they will look at what is available, what can be used effectively and efficiently, and that is the way they will go. I would not be surprised if some staff would have to take a hit on this because of the consolidation. They may not need the number of staff to mine the resource, because you can use the same staff to do two sites. So there's a likelihood that some staff would take a hit. But when that happens, in most cases, these mining companies, when they do the so-called severance and redundancies and all that, I think they do pay well. They do give good packages. And hopefully, those who would unfortunately suffer that may have to find a way of investing whatever they get. It is also possible that the same people, those who have technical skills, may find themselves elsewhere, even though they have the redundancy payments.
Well, we know the challenges that the mining sector has been through over the last couple of years. And so I'm just wondering, should government use this to sort of persuade other mining firms to look at the options of joint ventures in future?
Well, you see, the mining companies themselves, when this was happening, I'm sure they sat somewhere, not even in Accra or in Takwa, doing this. I'm sure they did that even in Johannesburg, because don't forget, the two companies have their headquarters in Johannesburg. They may be rivals in terms of the world bragging right, but when it comes to the efficiency of operating a mine, they become friends. So I'm sure they'll be looking at, most of these companies may have been talking to each other, looking at all factors, including proximity, effectiveness of working together, and even mergers and acquisitions. So it may not require the government to advise, because if government advise just like that and it's not feasible, the mining companies will just not do anything.
Final question. Reuters asked both firms if they would consider a merger in future. I don't know if it's far-fetched. What do you think about the possibility of a merger between these two companies in future?
There's nothing impossible in this world. And for this corporate world, everything is possible. For now, they haven't discussed mergers. They have discussed the option to work together where it becomes necessary. But it is not impossible that in the future that could come up. Don't forget that in most of their operations globally, they are very close. AngloGold Ashanti may have a mine here, and then Goldfields will have another one here. We go to Australia, it's the same. We go to Peru and other places. Don't forget also that Newmont had to merge with one of the very big mining giants in this world. So it is not impossible.
All right, Dr. Tony Obeng, grateful you could join us this afternoon. Certainly good to speak with you. I appreciate your time with us. You're watching The Marketplace. Let's talk about the IMF economic deal and how economists and analysts are becoming increasingly convinced that government will not meet the March end deadline for securing a board approval for the deal. Now, some analysts who spoke on PM Express Business Edition are thinking of second quarter of this year. Let's listen to risk analyst Theo Champong, who spoke on PM Express.
I will be very blunt on that. In fact, according to some of the data information and the assessment we're privy to, I think it's probably where you're talking May, thereabouts, in a best case scenario. And I'm actually on record as having said this. The reason is that, it's one thing restructuring your domestic debt, which is covered under your local law, and it's another thing with external debt restructuring. In this particular case here, there are four big players in the equation, each with different interests that we need to take into account. The first player, as I was saying, is China, but we also have the Paris Club lenders. So these are the 22 most advanced nations that give money to Ghana in the form of bilateral loans and credit, etc. Then you've got the World Bank and the IMF as one. So your multilaterals, you can even add African Development Bank in there. And then you also have the Eurobond holders, right? So these are the four big players within that architecture. And then if you look at our external debt portfolio, 29 billion USD, and if you break it down by these different or four players that I'm talking about, the Chinese, we owe 1.9 billion. So out of 29 billion, it's roughly just about 7%, right? But the Eurobond holders, we owe 13 billion out of the 29. So that's about 45% or 45 pesos of every 1 CD or dollar of debt that we owe to these external players. And the complexity really is that everyone has their interests, and trying to coordinate those interests within the timeframes that the Ghanaian government is talking about is extremely tight one. And even the evidence that we've seen in other jurisdictions, recently in Zambia and in other places, even when China has agreed formally to be part of the creditor group with France in Zambia's case, there are still issues as to how you treat certain categories of debt. So I think that the 31st, March deadline most likely would not be met, and it's going to go a couple of months down the line.
His partner at accounting firm Deloitte Ghana, who says that the government must change its communication strategy now, saying that the March deadline may not be met.
The communication is what I will put in the 3 C's.
Yeah.
It must be candid, consistent, and full of candor. Candid because we have to face the realistic situation. Some of the revenue measures in the budget have not been operationalized as we speak.
Yeah, because they are struggling to get approval from Parliament.
They have not been operationalized, so we have to be candid. What are the realistic timelines to get these revenue?
But what can government do? Because the same argument was made for e-levy, that because it delayed. I mean, should government itself realize that looking at the current structure of Parliament, the posturing, the engagement should be different. It cannot be business as usual.
Yes, which is why I said candid. Let's face the reality. Tell the investor community. And the investor community, some of them have decided. Some are still doing the wait and see attitude like Mike alluded to. But there are others who have taken their decision. There are others who will sell off their investments cheap.
They won't come back?
They won't come back again.
Wow.
Others will just close shop and leave. So let's be candid. Let's tell the investor community what the reality is, what the realistic timelines are, and let's be consistent. We know that
the flip-flop is too much,
debt restructuring program from when it was first announced to date. There have been instances where inconsistency in government communication, it cost us a lot. So we also have to set out consistent message. Now we are hearing that that's a timeline for submission. What does it mean? If it means that we are submitting by April or by May, it means realistically it's anything from the middle of this year. That is when we will start seeing something happen. And then we also need to appreciate that the longer this discussion drags on and on and on, the more it's going to cost us as a country.
All right, you're watching The Marketplace. Let's turn to the tourism sector. Let's talk about domestic tourism because the Ghana Tourism Authority says it's going to step up efforts to boost interest in domestic tourism. It is also looking at the options of partnerships. Now, the CEO of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Ajima, was speaking during the launch of a new partnership between the GTA and Adansi Travel Company as well as Enterprise Insurance Limited. Here's more in this report.
Part of initiative to reduce travel costs. Chief Executive Officer for the Ghana Tourism Authority entreated industry players within the travel and tour space to create value-added services with the aim of encouraging tourism on all fronts.
We have like a quarterly plan of activities that we do, but we've taken the feedback. People are saying that, look, Ghana, you have 24/7 sun all year round. Why don't you do more? So we are going to do more, but we need partners. And that's why we're excited when we get invited to come and network with the operators and work with people like Adansi Travels and Enterprise Insurance.
On this part, Head of Marketing and Communications at Enterprise Insurance, Mark Addison, said his outfit is poised to improve the quality of local and international travel for customers.
So tourist sites and tourists can be insured. I mean, there are times when a few casualties do come up during tourism, and so when people are sure that there is some form of protection or insurance for them when they go to events, when they go to tour sites, I'm sure there will be more confidence in the tourism industry. And so there's a lot that insurance can offer to the tourism industry.
Managing Director of Adansi Travel, Gideon Asari, said the company will continue to support the tourism sector and help in supporting various businesses.
We are using this to promote domestic tourism. And for those who want to take international tour, you have to build up your points. And once your points reach a certain level, you can use it to pay for your trip. I mean, the challenges have been access to information. A lot of people do not really have a lot of information when it comes to tourism. And then the next challenge is cost. Those who have the information, some too do not have the necessary funds to travel.
The Insure and Travel for Free initiative is intended to give customers who buy their motor, home, and travel insurance through Adansi Travels the opportunity to accumulate travel points, which can be redeemed for discounted or free travels.
That's the marketplace, everyone. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. We'll be back same time next week.